Everyone, this is Chrissy Duncan, Program Manager for Ivy Tech Community College with the CWCT program. Sorry I couldn't be with you this evening. I have recorded this to give you an overview of the CWCT program and hopefully answer any questions you might still have about the program. A copy of the slides I will be using will be emailed to you by Amber Schuler by the end of this week, as I know some of the writing might be a little small on some of your screens, as well as so you have any of the links that are included in any of the slides. So this will be coming to you, so just sit tight until Amber gets the recording and this information out to you later this week. If you do have questions, please feel free to put them in the chat, and hopefully another CWCT staff member can answer it for you when this recording is over. So let me go ahead and get started. I am going to stop sharing my video because I will be sharing some slides and you don't necessarily need to be seeing me. So let me share my screen. Okay, so the CWCT program is a consortium of 4 different universities, and each of you are assigned to a program manager within one of those 4 universities. So the 4 universities are Purdue Northwest, Ivy Tech Community College, University of North Carolina, Charlotte, and University of Tennessee, Chattanooga. So if you get emails from one of those 4 institutions, it is coming from the CWCT program because it is a consortium. You were given the name and contact information for your program manager in the original email that was sent by me to set up your My Ivy account. That would have been the very first of many emails you got from me when you first applied, and that would have gone to your personal email because you would not have had set up your My Ivy account yet. All right, so the brief overview of the program. So with the CWCT program, we do offer 3 training paths. These 3 training paths, and you chose one of them when you were admitted. These 3 training paths are artificial intelligence, digital forensics, and system administration. Within each path, there are 6 non-credit college level courses per training path. These courses are offered through live virtual lectures. They will be 6 hours per week. They tend to be 2 days a week, 3 hours each. The lectures are recorded for participants who cannot attend live. We know we have participants from all over the US as well as all over the world. So we know there can be time zone issues. We have first responders and law enforcement that worked weird shift work. So if you cannot attend the live virtual lecture, then you will be able to watch the recording. There are no in-person offerings for this program. Everything is done virtually. Because it is that consortium of 4 different universities, we don't have anything on any of the campuses. Everything is done virtually. Each session is going to be 8 weeks long. Participants will typically take 1 to 2 courses per session. And I will talk about on the next slide, typically what affects how many courses you take. So again, each session is going to be 8 weeks of instructional period, and then you will typically have a 2-week break before the next session begins. The only oddity for that is in December between our October and January sessions when we have the December holidays, the break's a little bit longer. Each of your courses may lead to an industry recognized certification, such as CompTIA A+, CompTIA Security Plus, CyberOps, certifications like that. Typically, of your 6 courses, there will typically be 5 or possibly even 6 of the courses that will lead to one of these industry recognized certifications. Now, the grant will only cover test fees for 3 certifications. So you may choose not to do any certifications above 3. You may choose to pay for any certification above the 3 out of your own pocket. A lot of the times there is a student discount that you can use using your Ivy Tech information. The information about the certifications will be sent to you at the end of each course once we have verified that you have passed the course. So that information will come to you at the end of your courses. So we cover 3 certifications. Once you are complete with all 6 of your courses, and I will talk here also in a second about what happens when you might already have one of these certifications. But once you're done with all 6 courses or have some of the certifications already, you will be awarded a certificate of completion with all of the required coursework listed. The certificate of completion will have the 4 consortium institutions listed on it, as well as the National Centers for Academic Excellence, which is what this grant is through. There may be an opportunity to take these non-credit courses and move them into 4-credit courses, possibly at the 4 consortium universities, institutions. Each of the 4 institutions is working on a crosswalk currently. If you go to somewhere besides the 4 consortium institutions, you will have to talk to that institution whether they would take any of our non-credit coursework, or they might do the crosswalk for the certifications themselves. So that could be an opportunity for you. So as I mentioned before, with the 3 pathways, you are admitted only under one of the 3 tracks. You were either admitted under system admin, artificial intelligence, or digital forensics. You must complete all 6 courses within your track that are required. This is not a pick and choose which courses you want. You can't take some courses from system admin, some courses from digital forensics, some courses for AI. When you get your registration emails, it will have a copy of the coursework that is required. You must complete those 6 courses. Now, if you already have one of the certifications, I think our biggest one is a lot of you might already have CompTIA Security Plus, or even CompTIA A Plus are the 2 most popular. As long as that certification is active and not expired, you will not have to take that corresponding course. You will get a waiver for it. We do have to have a copy of the certification on file. Typically in your registration emails, if you say you already have it, that particular certification, and we don't have it on file, we'll send you the link to upload that too. You will not have to replace it with another course because it's a direct one-to-one waiver. Now, the biggest question we almost always get is, can you take your 6 courses required for your track, as well as maybe some additional coursework above the 6 that might come out of those other tracks? Now, I need everybody to listen very carefully, because even though I'm going to talk about this right now, it's going to be asked in the chat, even though I'm addressing it. So please, please pay attention. So, can you take courses outside of your track? The answer is maybe. We cannot give you a definite answer on that. If there is room in the course after everybody who needs it for their particular track is registered, if there is still room available, then we might be able to offer you that additional course. If you are ever eligible to take an extra course, this typically happens when you maybe already have one of the certifications, so you don't have to take that particular course or something like that. If you are eligible for an additional course, that information will be provided to you in your registration emails you get, and there will be a form you will fill out with which additional courses you are interested in taking. And then typically the week before classes start is when we can determine if there is room and when you will be notified. So for extra courses, you will typically not be notified if you can be put into them until the week before classes start. So can you take additional courses? Maybe, if there is room. Can you do additional tracks once you have finished your track? Again, we can't guarantee that. A lot of the times that might happen accidentally because you've taken some extra courses when they're available, and it just so happens those extra courses allow you to earn that second track. So the answer is just maybe. We never know, and it changes semester to semester or session to session. So can you take extra courses, extra tracks? That is to be determined at a later time before each session. So let's talk about participation in this program. Participation is extremely important for this program. Student participation is required for this grant program. How you demonstrate participation is by completing your quizzes, labs, and homework each week for your assigned classes. This is not a go at your own pace, wait until 2 weeks before the session ends and do all the work. There's too much to do that. So you are expected to submit assignments each week. You have due dates each week, okay? If you are not submitting assignments each week, you could be removed from that course for not completing your weekly work. So you do not want to get dropped for non-participation by not doing your work. You also need to make sure you're either attending the live lectures or watching the recordings if you cannot attend the live lectures. If you cannot attend the live lectures, you want to make sure you let your instructors know. So make sure you're doing those lectures. More importantly, you need to make sure you're doing your assignments so you don't get dropped for non-participation. Whoops, sorry, I moved on too fast. And now I'm going the wrong way. Give me 1 second. Okay, this is what I mentioned before, the time commitment for this program. Yes, you have 6 hours of lecture a week, but then you also have time you need to set aside for homework, assignments, lab work, things like that. We typically recommend setting aside 2 to 3 hours for each hour you are in your lecture. So if you are in one class, that could be a potential of 12 to 18 hours of just your homework lab work. Take that 12 to 18 hours, add it to your 6 hours. That is almost 20 to 20, or it's over 20 hours of work or time you need to set aside for just one class. So if you are in 2 classes, it is like a full-time job. You will have approximately 30, high 30s to 40 hours of work between lectures and your lab work. So please, it is important that you do not overcommit yourself and take more classes than you can manage with your other commitments, work, family, military duties, things like that. If you have registered for 2 classes and after hearing this, even though you were informed of this in several different emails prior to this orientation, if you think you need to drop down to 1 class, please send an email to Amber Schuler or myself and we can get that processed. Okay, this is just a reminder of the training schedule. So as I mentioned, participants will take 1 to 2 courses per session, and there are 6 courses. Please note, we only have 6 sessions left of this program total. And then the grant ends. So if you're only taking 1 course at a time, you're going to need to make sure you pass those courses, and you cannot take any sessions off if you want to continue with just 1 course at a time. If you fail classes or if you need to take sessions off, just note that you might be required to take 2 courses in your later sessions in order to finish the program in time. Okay, so what is covered under this grant as far as costs and support? You got free online English, math, and IT assessments during your application process. This included the assessments themselves. If you had to do the study paths, if you had to do any of the training modules and the IT assessment, or if you utilized any of the free virtual tutoring, that was all covered and available if the minimum scores could not be met. Again, we cover up to the testing fees for up to 3 certifications. And that's only the testing fees. So if there are additional proctoring fees or other fees charged by the testing sites themselves, those would not be covered by this. This only covers the test. So it pays for up to 3 certifications. And I already mentioned what you could do if you want to get any of the additional certifications on top of the 3, either not take them or pay for them out of your own pocket. We do not require you to pass the certification to move on in the coursework. We only require you to pass the courses themselves. You get your courses with live virtual faculty instruction, again, with the recorded lectures for later viewing. You have access to cybersecurity support analysts through this program. These support analysts can provide tutoring, they can provide technical support, and they can provide virtual machine development and maintenance. That's all covered under this. Finally, online books and materials are covered under this, if there is even an online book and material. If there are hard copies available and you want a hard copy of the books and materials, you would be responsible for, number one, finding those on your own as well as paying for them. But the online books and materials are covered. Finally, and the link for this would have been included in several emails through your application process. We do have self-preparation for your training path. That is, if you just go to cwct.us and go to the training schedule, it's towards the bottom. We highly recommend that if you want to prepare at all for some of your courses, that you go in and do some of these self-preparation. Especially if you are going to be taking Linux, you need to go into the section for both the cloud system admin and forensic learning path. It's the third from the bottom. If you click on the little plus sign next to that, there's a Linux Unhatched. We highly recommend you go in and do that. So that is it for this presentation. If you have any questions, hopefully you put them in the chat and a CWCT member can answer them. I will be back later on with another video to talk about your MyIvy and IvyLearn and how to actually do the classes. You all have a great rest of the night and good luck in your future future session. Thanks.